Hey everyone, welcome to another Tower of God ranking video. Today we're breaking down the Floor of Death fights. Now this is going to be an interesting video. There's not that many fights that we're going to be going over. However, we'll see how it goes. Today, as always, we're joined by the guys over at AOA. I almost pointed to the wrong screen, so guys say hi.
Yo. What up? Glad to be here, guys.
Happy to have them as always. So we'll see how this goes. Many of these fights, they're not even really fights, so this is going to be an interesting breakdown to see what we consider to be a fight, etc., etc., which, by the way, I'll break that down really quickly. Usually when we break down fights for these rankings, we want to talk about, you know, the epic nature of the fight. You know, if there's a ton of explosions, if the fight goes on for a long time, then obviously that says a lot. But if there's also like an emotional aspect, if the characters are fighting for personal reasons and they have a lot of growth during the fight, then that also says a lot. Choreography and other things play a part too. So yeah, I think we can get into it here. So, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, we have 5 fights on our list, and I was talking to the AOA guys about the options. Before we even started, the chat was exploding with Yurik's Finger versus Karaka. What did I tell you guys? We were always talking about, like, does it count? I was like, we gotta do it, man. We got Yurik's Finger versus Karaka. We got Kunan Dorsey and Boro versus the Gatekeeper. Garam versus the Ghost of the 13 Months, Yuri versus Walcott and Sanchez, and then Bauman Yurik versus Heljo. So right off the bat, guys, what do you think about our options?
All right, let's see. I also have my handy dandy notebook here.
Oh, perfect.
Isaiah, if we need to refer to that.
Ian's always got his handy dandy notebook.
Yeah, I always have my handy dandy notebook here.
So I guess I'll just rip the Band-Aid off again. Are fights that aren't actual fights getting ranked lower than actual fights?
What do you mean? These are all fights.
I think the conversation goes where it needs to go. But, you know.
Oh, man. Okay, so I don't, you know, just to add some of the suspense, I hate to do it in this order, but I do feel like that Bomb and Yurik versus Heljo has to be number 1.
Yeah,
right?
Let's slap it there.
Like, we don't have to go from 6 up, although it adds to some of the suspense. I hate to ruin the fun here, but yeah, just to eliminate that one off the list. It's like, yeah, it's like we were really hard pressed for fights in this arc, but
yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
We talked, this fight is a lot of moments. It's a little bit hard in the fights.
Yeah. And then now, okay, in terms of Yurik's Finger versus Karaka, this is just a matter of like, you know, how far you want the meme to go.
Yeah.
You know, because like realistically, this gets put at like 5 or 6, right? Just process of elimination with just actual fights. But
there's only 5 for one, so it'd be like 4 or 5, right?
5?
Yeah.
My bad. I was looking at 4 or 5.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's got to be at least 4 or 5, and I feel like 4 is generous.
Well, okay. You know what? Genuinely, I think it could be 4 because the only one, like, not, you know, I love the meme, guys, but let's be real. He flicks Karaka. That's the fight. I think, well, okay. We should take a couple minutes to seriously talk about this. Like, talking it without the meme, it is actually interesting seeing Yurik, like, the cocky nature of Yurik is really interesting here, and because Karaka is someone who, up until this point, him and Yuri had an epic fight, but we're not used to him kind of getting shafted, even though he does for like the rest of the series. He never gets a good matchup, but it is interesting seeing how he's so confident against Karaka. For the first time, we see Karaka kind of get owned by someone in this way, you know, and that's all I gotta say.
I will say that while I do think it's interesting pretty much always to watch Yurik like cut loose on anybody, like Yurik's always shafting whoever he's fighting, right? Unless it's arguably Jihad. Like, I don't know how they stack up, but like Yurik's never had a matchup where he wasn't shafting almost immediately whoever he's fighting. So I think the question of that meetup is really just like, it's fun to see Karaka maybe get like shafted, or it's, you know, it's fun to see somebody who up until that moment had been sort of built up to be this imposing figure get like, you know, a little get a little humble.
Yeah.
But it's just like actually a few seconds. Like I feel a disservice putting it above literally any of these other instances, which last like at least a chapter.
All right. Ian?
Yeah, the only thing, if we wanted to, for the sake of the meme, to put it above, I would say would be the Garam versus the 13
I was thinking
Ghost.
the same.
That's the only thing I can see, and even that though, like I said, I'm not willing to die on that hill because I could be swayed.
Yeah.
Either way, for just impact. Because remember, folks, the criteria here is emotional impact. That doesn't have to be like sad or whatever, just emotional, right? You're just like, damn, that was like kind of hype goes along with that. Choreography in the fight and the spectacle itself. So like how bombastic and like crazy could it be, and kind of hype with that. Hype just kind of gets injected into all of them in a weird sense, right? But so with that being said, obviously it's choreography for Yurik's finger is 0 because there's literally he's just flicking his finger. And then, so I think from there, it would be spectacle and emotional impact. Emotional impact, it was damn funny for sure.
It was a flex.
Not real impact.
I guess. I don't know. I'm pulling at straws here.
I know you're trying, but
I
can't.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to put that at 5.
Well, hold on. I think it genuinely is an iconic moment for a reason, and not just like as a meme. But like, I do, even like the first time I read this was a moment that I was like, oh, that was actually like just the nature of seeing Yurik flex so hard and just go all in on that cocky nature. And, you know, it's unique. The choreography is unique. Who would have thought having like the finger, you know, I mean, like, it's just like, the whole moment is just unique. And the Garam thing, I would argue that the Garam versus Ghost is even less of a fight because it's not even really a fight. She throws the blanket on her and then rings the bell. Is that really a fight? I think she like does what? I think she like does something with the slash.
I'm just going off the instance that like in Garam and Yuri's fight, or the Ghost fight, whoever you want to like label that as, it's like Yuri does a thing, you know, or I keep saying Yuri, the Ghost. The weapons do a thing. Garam does a thing. Then weapons do another thing. Like there's like a little bit of 1-2 where like Yurik's thing is literally 1 and done.
To be fair though, one of the fights on here is Yuri versus Walcott and Sanchez. So the way I'm looking at it personally is that I'm strictly looking at the scenario where Garam fights the Ghost, right? Because does Yuri do any? Correct me if I'm wrong, because you were saying it goes back and forth. But is there an actual instance where she's like fighting the Ghost and then Yuri comes in and helps fight the ghosts?
No, because Yuri is possessed by the Ghost.
She's possessed, right?
Yeah.
So I would say then if we're going off strictly Garam versus the Ghost, then I think that I actually do agree with you in a crazy sense. It really isn't a fight in that scenario.
I don't know. It's more impactful because it is Yuri versus the Ghost. It's the Ghost that has been, you know, that Jihad had planted like thousands of years ago or whatever. And it's a really interesting concept. I think, you know, as far as like the story goes and the plot, that is way more interesting. But like, I don't know. We're talking about spectacle. Yurik does this, and it's just like a gigantic it like rocks the whole floor, and they're all like, "What the heck was that?" You know, it's something like that, and it's like, okay.
See it as a hype moment. I could see 4. I could see 4 for the thingy, the one thingy.
I don't know.
And Garam
I just it's Garam. It's not even really a fight.
Okay.
And Yurik's finger is like obviously a fight. I mean, let's be real here. So
no, it's fair. That was super underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. I in all seriousness though, when I do think of fights and just like crazy hype moments, like I'm not thinking of Garam and like throwing a blanket on a ghost. Like I was like, that was kind of corny and stupid. Like I do think more, you know, at that point of the finger, although it wasn't, you know, it was like not really a fight. But
yeah, I like the Garam stuff because
that's it. Before I change my mind,
yep, no, we're cementing this. I do like the Garam moment as a moment, but as a fight, it obviously falls. That's all I'm saying. Like, it is interesting hearing that the bell came from Bomb's mother and like this, and Garam is personally attached to the Ghost because the Ghost is the reason the Ghost possessed Garam's sister, and so Garam had to kill her own sister. It's like there is stuff there. It's just as a fight, it's just not even really, you know. Let's keep it there. Yeah? Isaiah.
Wait, did you just say that the the ghost one of those ghosts specifically?
No, there is only one ghost of the 13 months. And it's a ghost that possesses... Okay. So it's a woman who is jealous of the princesses because she wasn't chosen. So she went to Jihad, and Jihad was like, hey... Because Jihad, he puts up this front. He puts up this front that he wants the princesses to gather all the weapons, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
So to counter that, whenever a princess has more than one and ignites it, her spirit possesses them and kills them, essentially. And
so we don't think that has more emotional weight than Yurik flicking Karaka.
No, I was gonna say it has a little bit of depth behind.
There's a lot of emotional weight, but my argument is that it's not even a fight, though. Really,
Joe, you almost had me, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was ready to put it forward, and you're like, no. Let me just continue.
Yeah.
And then you just let it go, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
Because if emotional impact is a criteria, how the fuck does that not win? Like, it has 1 point where Yurik and Karaka have none.
You're
To be fair, we did say in the pre-recording here that emotional impact we would have as the highest factor. Because remember, we were going off of the percentages here, so I do think if there's that behind it, then
because this fight, this arc does not have that much spectacle.
Yeah, there's not much, so we didn't give it as much weight in terms of our rankings. So for anyone who doesn't know, like I said, emotional impact, choreography, and spectacle are the 3 criteria, but we are giving more weight to emotional impact with like 50% and the other 25 split, because of the fact that there aren't a lot of fights in this arc. And that's just where we came up with, in terms of how we're ranking it. There's like not enough big bombastic things, otherwise those would just crush them without even a second thought. So
chat's blaming me. Sorry, it's just before I forget. Chat's blaming me for the finger placement going down. Guys, I want to say that without my constantly stressing it, they wouldn't have even made the list. Y'all should be thankful, okay? Y'all should be thankful.
I'll give Joe a brownie point, and I was fully ready to cut that shit out the list. I didn't even want it to be in this argument to begin with.
That is fair.
Joe did argue to get it on the list to begin with.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
I'll say what I said then. It's kind of silly.
It's extremely silly. All right.
No, that's fair. I would like to just say one thing, because I've seen it put up in chat, and I mean, obviously we're not going to make like a slide for it and all, but they were referring to Enryu versus the Administrator as a fight. Ooh. And I'm not going to lie, I saw that and I'm like, well, shit, I did not even think of that, because that was a flashback. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, well, really, is it a fight? And then I couldn't help tell myself, I'm like, Ian, you're just trying to make it not a fight so you don't have to say that you screwed up.
Yeah.
To be fair, I would put that, honestly, I might put that at number 1 or 2.
Yeah. We saw a lot of it. We saw a lot of it. Because the Administrator transforms and like,
yeah, it wasn't like here's like the whole story and like we're gonna revert, like we're gonna take like a huge set. Like it was kind of like the play-by-play, but like we did see the actual rain coming down or whatever. He's using the spikes and the thorn or whatever to like destroy it, and it's like jumping around and how he came down just devastated the whole thing. Like, I would consider it a fight, and I'm not gonna lie, I totally freaking forgot about it.
I did too. I totally forgot. That would have been so. Okay, guys, number 0. Hey, we did this before with Enryu, the character list. It's at number 0. Yeah. It transcends the list. All right. All right.
That's it.
An argument that if it wasn't that memorable, that's a point against it, personally.
All right, Isaiah, get out of here. Get out of here. We can never agree on something. No, the 3 of us can never come together on something. I swear. All right. So, all right, that leaves us with 2. We got Khun and Dorsey and Boro versus the Gatekeeper, and then Yuri versus Walcott and Sanchez. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Yuri versus Walcott and Sanchez, I can't even really remember like the exact specifics of the fight. I know she fights them both. She cuts off one of their arms. I think she kills one of them. I think Walcott.
Pretty sure she kills one of them.
Yeah.
Because that's when they make the whole deal. They're like, oh fuck, we're supposed to be immortal, and like she kills somebody.
Yeah. I think Sanchez is the one who loses an arm. I don't know. So yeah. I mean,
it's kind of weird because I like the Khun and Dorsey fight. One, because like it's always cool to see, and Boro.
Sorry.
It's always cool to see.
Sorry.
characters that we know get an upgrade. He's always pushing forward all the time, every time. You know, he's like,
I'm sorry.
He just sinks into his chair.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, keep going.
It is always cool to see them get an upgrade of some kind, especially because they're not BAM. So it, like, in a weird way, not to say that like BAM upgrades are invalidated, but his are so frequent that, like, at that point, even I almost expected them to come, and seeing Khun and Dorsey being able to like jump up to a new level was like, oh, cool. Like, you guys got this dope thing now that you can use. And they, you know, they get that much stronger and that much more viable as a character and as a fighter going forward. And like, I feel like there's more complexity to the fight. Like,
no, there
something
is.
Like Yuri and Wall, whatever his name is, and Sanchez.
Yeah.
Because like that fight is kind of just like boom, 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 boom. Like, it's just, you know, return and receive, you know, big blast. Where it's like Khun's attack is actually defensive, so there's like some strategic capabilities that go into that, and Dorsey's flinging her, you know, whatever those blasts is she learned from Yuri.
Yeah.
Right.
I think personally, if I'm going off of criteria here, I actually feel that I feel like Khun and Boro and Dorsey versus the Gatekeeper actually checks all the boxes, except maybe spectacle more than Yuri's fight. Personally, I think it ranks higher because Yuri's fight is not something that I even really remember so much as the moment, which I feel like is very different. It's actually another category that we have, spoiler alert, of when she double ignites.
Right.
The actual fight, I don't even know what the was going on. Like, I didn't even remember it. And like, it didn't even seem like she was really having trouble. It just seemed like a big spectacle. There wasn't really much growth or emotional impact within the fight of like, oh my God, remember when Yuri versus Walcott and Sanchez? It's like, no one gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's
nobody. Somebody gives a shit.
Do you remember when she ignited two of the weapons, right? Like, that's the conversation you're having. So I feel like the fight itself pales in comparison to the actual bigger moment, whereas the Khun and Dorsey Boro versus the Gatekeeper hits on the emotional beat in the sense that it's a feel-good moment because you get to see these new skills put to use. You see in Dorsey kind of embodying some of the moves that Yuri has taught her. You see Khun put this new ability into action and all of his thought, you know, through Evan and his tutelage. As well. Boro's there, but you know, beyond that, we have like, I'm just messing with you, but like, and then the choreography of the fight was really cool. I think that's actually the biggest standout for this one is the choreography of it.
Yeah.
Is the absolute synergy that we have is always something super satisfying to see within this, and I feel like they really nail it in this fight, just showing and cementing why these folks are a team again. And Dorsey and Khun aren't even the best of friends, right? Like, they kind of don't get along in a lot of respects, but they're able to come together and put the hurt on something that seemed to be kind of maybe not out of their league per se, but definitely difficult for them to verse on a one-on-one scenario. And then, I mean, even for spectacle as well, although it's not as bombastic per se, it's very colorful and engaging to watch and like read. You know,
it's a more interesting fight.
It is more interesting. Yeah, because I agree with you. Like I just said, I couldn't even really remember the Yuri. Like, I know what happened with Yuri. That's like, how did she cut off his arm, or how did he die? It's like, I don't freaking know. But what I like about this is that, like you're saying, it's using all of them. All the guys are there. They're teaming up. You know, even Boro. I'm not just saying that. I'm just saying that, like, it's using up even the small members of the team. It's like, that's cool, man. That's cool. So, all right.
Also, Happy Llama does point out we also get a sexy Khun panel as a result of this fight.
Dude, that Anacord panel is pretty.
Cannot be overlooked.
That is actually probably like one of the best Khun panels. That's a good point. Where he's like, Anacord. Dude, okay. Cool stuff. All right. I think we have our list. That was pretty easy, actually. We are mostly in agreement. Most of the argument came from the finger, which is
which I guess in a weird way it was a good thing it made it to the list.
Because
it was the most debate.
That's true. That is true. But
I actually want to put it in one.
yes. But overall, I mean, we put this here without saying it, but Bomb and Yuri versus Eljo, I mean, we don't even have to talk about it. It actually has a lot of emotional impact, a lot of spectacle, and some interesting choreography. So it definitely deserves number one.
The fight of the arc, you know what I mean? Like, that's the conflict of the arc is resolved in that fight. That fight has to decide, you know, who gets the
100%. The emotional beats were absolutely. I feel like even beyond the spectacle and everything, which were 10 out of 10, the emotional beats were huge in this one, especially the culmination of the fight when Yurik's speech, like Isaiah said, and and just the raw aesthetic too for spectacle beyond just the big moves. Like, dude, I'm just throw it out there. Hell Joe's design, one of my, like with the red Vision, one of my favorites. I think if not my favorite one in Tower of God total. Like that was the coolest freaking looking thing ever. I was like, wow, this is awesome, dude. Like looking at this cool fight, and choreography was great too, like you guys were saying. We got Hockney utilized in it, as I was proven before. I forgot about that, where he's giving Bomb the play-by-play in order to dodge and utilize his effectiveness as a support character and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. And then Yurik as your DPS there. It was a sweet thing all around, so definitely deserving a number 1.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have to say this arc is probably when the art also like peaks. Like the art in this arc is like phenomenal. Not to say season 3 arc is, I just think that the art for Helljo, I mean, dude. All right. Well, thank you everyone for participating, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to actually catch the stream live, then pay attention to future updates, because we're going to be doing these every few weeks or whatever. Just pay attention. We'll announce when we're going to do our next one. But overall, go check out the AOA channel as well. These guys make great content. They're almost caught up with season 3, so you definitely want to be there for when they finish their read-through. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care.